What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, Forex family? It's your boy Trill. Also call me Philip Branch, but that's what everybody knows me as. It's Trill, and welcome to the 365 Trading Group, Forex Trading Psychology, and Gold Money webinar. All right. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about Forex Trading Psychology and how to trade gold. There's a lot of money on gold. I believe first, Forex Trading Psychology, you need this before you can even get on the charts. You can know all the strategies in the world, but if you have no Forex Trading Psychology, no plan, then you're really not going to see the success that you want to see, okay? Most people wonder why they, can't get good entry points, why they can't get good pip days worth of pips. Why they always seem to be in the red is because they're usually just moving off an impulse instead of a plan. And that goes back to Forex Trading Psychology. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how gold can make you rich. All right. Gold is another, it's another realm. It's another level. Every dollar of movement is 10 pips. So I don't know if if you really be on the charts like that, but that is like groundbreaking. Okay. That is like really something because, for example, if you look, let's say a wave like this, a normal wave like this on a pair like GBP USD would be about 100 pips. Okay. But this wave right here for gold would be about like 350 pips, all right? This wave right here would normally end up being like 200 pips on a pair like GBP JPY, right? This is like 700 pips on gold, you know what I'm saying? And the movements happen in the same way. Like this is a day's worth of movement, and that went from 1506. So basically 1546 to 1506. So that's basically 400 pips. That's a 400 pip drop. 400 pip drop in a day. All right. In a matter of 3 hours. So it's like, it's a totally different ball game. So much more money can be made. And you just kind of got to have the right strategies to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to apply my personal strategies. The pullback strategy, the trapping at the trend line strategy, and then we're going to touch on a little bit of the scalping strategy in order to, pull all the money you can out of gold, man. Even if you really just trade gold, you can get rich. Even if you didn't trade nothing but gold, left all the Forex pairs out, you can really make a whole lot of money. All you got to do is get it down. Because, the same way it can go for you, it can go against you. So you don't want to, be in at the bad parts or get in with bad entries on gold, okay? So let's start with the trading psychology. First, failure to plan is planning to fail, okay? Failure to plan is planning to fail. You got to have an idea of what you are trying to accomplish every day when you are on the charts. You can't just wake up and say, let me see what I can come up with. If you're saying, let me see, then you're already starting off wrong. You should already know what you're trying to accomplish. You should know the strategies you're going to use, the different options of strategies that you're going to use, and you shouldn't need much. And I'll explain that here a little more. Timing, how many pips you're going for, stuff like that. And just set daily goals. Once you reach your daily goals, then you're done. So set daily goals, shoot for those goals, and then come back the next day. So how do you start off trading psychology? Wiping out all the fluff and confusion. Jumping from pair to pair to pair to pair is only just confusing you because all these pairs work differently. You need to focus. Find some place of focus. Find a point of focus, okay? So pick a session, the most feasible session for your trading habits. Think about your life on a weekly basis, your kids, your job, your friends, girlfriend if you have one. Whatever it is that you do, think about that. What is going to be the session that you have the most access to and the least interruption? And really think about that. I had a student the other day that said, oh, but I like the London session. I said, I didn't ask you what you liked. I asked you what session do you have most access to with no interruption. So for that person, it was actually Sydney's session, but they were just liking Lundy's session. Well, come to find out, I'm like, you can't really like run this session because you're new. You probably just taken a signal or two and made money during that session, and so you're like, oh, I like run that session. But really, you don't know nothing about that session on your own to say that you like that. So take a session, look at your life on a weekly basis, and say, am I going to have most access to New York, London, or Sydney without interruption? And then pick that session, okay? And then once you find that session, you then go to step 2. Step 2 is pick 2 pairs and go. 2 pairs. All you need is 2 pairs to be successful in Forex. You don't need 30, 40, 50. You don't need all that. All you need is 2 pairs in the master. All right? 2 pairs in gold. Stay on those pairs for the next 6 months so that you can get your mastery down, okay? All right, step number 3, take those 2 pairs and pick 2 strategies. 3 at the most, not 2 each. You just need 2 strategies, 3 at the most. High percentage strategies. That means you're gonna have to practice the strategies to make sure that they work, all right? And make sure that you're getting your strategies down. And you can go on YouTube and find a million strategies. Just type in your pair, GBP, USD, and then type in the word strategy. You'll find a million of them, okay? All right, so use those strategies to reach daily goals, then be done. Most people lose because they overtrade. Most people lose because they don't have a stopping point. 9 times out of 10, I have a trading plan that goes off of 20 pips a day. I do. Now, there are different trading plans. Some go off of 40, 50, some go off of 80. Depends on how experienced you are in Forex. But even if I'm on a 20 pip plan for beginners, right? And a lot of people call me and they be like, yo, man, I was up, and then I was down. I was like, okay, well, if you was up that much and you would have just stopped, would you have lost? And 85% of them tell me, yeah, I would have won. You know what I'm saying? Or no, I wouldn't have lost. Most of the people are winning and then they try too much, they get greedy. So they hold in the trade too long. If you've already reached your daily goal, why are you trying to hold the weight just to see how far it goes? Take your daily goal, come back tomorrow. And then after you get your daily goal, why are you coming back and chasing? Don't rob the bank and back. Don't rob the bank and come back to the bank. You know what I'm saying? So trading psychology, get you a session, get 2 pairs in that session, get 2 strategies from that session. You know what I'm saying? For those 2 pairs. And then focus on that for the next 6 months, perfecting those strategies. The tweaking of those strategies. What time does market pop off for your pair? What time does market slow down for your pair? How does your pair react to news? How does your pair react to trend lines, support and resistance lines? All those different things. How many morning stars? How many evening stars? How many M's? How many W's does it make? All these different things you can start to dissect by just watching your pair, and then that gives you the best time for attack. If you're in 365 Trading Group, you've heard me mention this analogy a million times. A lion, trying to catch a lion in the jungle. You're not just gonna run up on the lion gonna eat your ass, okay? What you do is you watch the lion. You watch it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks if you have to. Figure out what it does at 9 o'clock, what it does at 10 o'clock, what the lion does at 12 o'clock. You start to notice it has a particular pattern. By the 3rd week, you're gonna see that this lion does at, pick a time, 9:30 and 1:30, this lion isn't paying attention at these times. Every other time the lion's paying attention, but at these times, they ain't paying attention. Those are my attack times for the lion. You know what I'm saying? After watching it for 3 weeks, I figured out either I'm attacking at 9:30 or 1:30 or I'm not attacking at all. Same thing with Forex. After you get your pair down, you realize, okay, I see it does this at this time or this time, this is how we do this, so I'm either attacking here or I'm not attacking at all. Because this is my best opportunity to complete the mission, okay? Foreign currency trading psychology, all right? All it is a goal to put you in a more consistent pattern and a more consistent regimen in order to get more consistent results, okay? All right? And then once you finish your goal, again, let me stress this part too. Once you get your goal, there's 2 words in financially free, or financial freedom, whichever one you want to say. All right? There's the financial part, financially, and then there's the freedom part, or free. You got to live the free part too. You can't be on the charts all day. It's going to bog you down, overwhelm you, and you're only going to lose as well. Because most traders will tell you, the more you look at the chart and have a trade in, the more you feel like you're missing something. So you're going to be itching to put something in, and then you're going to jump in at a bad time and end up losing. Real traders will tell you that. So what you need to do is just step away from the charts, go decompress, go have fun. When I get my money, I don't care if I got my money in 3 minutes, 30 minutes, or 3 hours. When I'm done, I'm done. I'm not trying to be on it. And then once my sessions, I'm not outside my session. So that's my psychology. That's how I keep it going. That's how I keep my percentages high. I don't really give myself the opportunity to lose outside my strategy. I don't do that. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose within my strategy, not outside of it. I'm going to let that happen. So it's no different from playing basketball. If I come off of 5 pick and rolls in a basketball game and I hit 4 out of the 5 coming out of pick and rolls, I can be happy with that. You see what I'm saying? But that don't mean I'm going to change the strategy every single time just because I missed one shot. No, okay, I missed it this time. Let me come back down again, make sure it works, okay? Try it again, all right? Because I know it works pretty much. In the past, it showed that this strategy has worked. So that was a quick run through on trading psychology. You gotta have trading psychology if you want to have any success. So again, go to your charts, go to y'all live charts. I know y'all probably got a million pairs down here, and start erasing the ones that don't need to be there, okay? Oh, start erasing the pairs. All you should have, this USD CAD, boom, we're gonna get that out of there. So now all I got is my gold and my GBP pairs, okay? Because those are gonna be the pairs that I trade. All right, I'm focused on my session. There's enough money in all of this, but today we're gonna focus on gold. There's enough money in those 3 pairs, in these 3 pairs for everybody. For me, it's especially, all right? So let's talk about gold, and then we'll talk about how to apply my strategies to gold, okay? Gold is a get money strategy for sure. Like just trading gold to me is a strategy itself because it's like a cheat code. Like it gives so many pips, it's unreal. Pips that you are on other pairs like you really working for. You know what I'm saying? Like you really working for 10 pips on USD CAD or on JPY. Like you really be working for those 10 pips. Gold gives out those 10 pips like 2-cent candy. You know what I'm saying? Every candle, you go to gold right now. If you go to gold right now, every candle on that chart is roughly 40 pips or more. Every candle on this chart is 40 pips or more. That's unreal. This small candle right here, let's see. Even this small green pin candle right here, 1486 to 1489. That's 30 some pips, 35 pips, 30 pips, something like that. And there's 30 with some extras, that's what I'm saying. Even these little candles, 1488, 1491, that's 30 pips, fam. You catch it going the right way, you can make 20 pips easy off that one candle right there. All right. So all these candles are giving out so many pips. And all you gotta do is just be in position for like 2 trades a day. And you're gonna make easy, breezy, beautiful money. Okay? Alright. Okay, so let me get back to my notepad real quick. Alright, so what's some basics we need to know about gold? Gold has no session, okay? Gold has no session. There's not like a London session, New York session, or Sydney session with this pair. So you can kind of just pick one. All right. They will move in any session. You know what I'm saying? You just pick one. It's not like a GBP pair where it's only gonna move really during London session and some of New York session. GBP pairs aren't gonna move ever in Sydney session, really ever, unless like some major news comes out, and for some reason it comes out during Sydney session. But for the most part, most of the pairs are gonna move during their session. All right, but gold is one that moves during all sessions, so you just kind of pick one. You know what I'm saying, to focus on, and then use certain strategies to apply during that session. All right. So let's talk about the movement of it. Every dollar of movement is 10 pips. So if you're saying from 1501, so if gold was at 1501 and it moves to 1502, that's 10 pips. If it's at 1501 and it moves to 1505, that's 50 pips, okay? Or 40 pips, sorry. 40 pips, I'm sorry. 1501 to 1505 is 40 pips. But right now it's at 1486. So if it goes to 1496, that's 100 pips. So if it just as simple was to go up here and engulf this candle at the 1496, that'd be 100 pips. All right. So $1 of movement is the equivalent. $1 of movement is the equivalent of 10 pips. Please make sure you write that down. Please make sure you remember that, because that is a key with your goal. So you can already see your goal in every one of these candles on the chart. That's amazing, right? If you're on a 20 pip plan, which most people are, which are beginners, they should be on a 20 pip a day pip plan. You could see your pip plan being completed in gold just in about every candle. You just have to have the right entry point. All right. So, what are some of the best strategies to use when dealing with gold? All right. Well, one of the first things that I always try to look for are pullbacks. When you're dealing with gold, and mostly forex in general, what most people don't realize, there are more pullbacks that happen than pushes, or more, like tapping of support and resistance areas and then pushing back than there are actual pushes. So you have to put yourself on the side that happens more sometimes. So when it comes to gold, because these pullbacks can net me 20, 30 pips, there are a lot of people who aren't good at catching the burst. Like they're like, yo, I always miss the burst or the breakout point. And so they feel like they never really get good at that. Okay, well, if you never get good at catching the bursts, then get good at catching the pullback. Because every burst is going to come with a pullback. Every candle has a wick at the end, on the top and the bottom. So if you see a candle burst off, you know how some candles, they'll burst off and they won't have a wick at the end at the moment. Then you need to understand at some point it's going to create a wick. Every one of these candles has a wick. So that means at some point in time, each one of these candles pulled back somewhere. All right? Each one of these candles pulled back somewhere. Even if we are looking at the wicks of just this candle here, 1527, 1524. That's almost 30 pips. That's somewhere between 20 and 30 pips just off that wick alone right there. Even if we wanted to take this small wick right here, 1515 to 1513, that's 20 pips. Or it could be between 10 and 20 pips, somewhere in between there, depending, 15/4, that's where it is, 15/15. So somewhere between 10 and 20 pips. So each one of these pullbacks is even a good amount of money if you're catching quick 10 pip trades. So all it is about is finding entry point. Every time you see gold, you should see a lot of money, right? So the pullbacks are something that you should start to look for if you are not that good at catching like the bursts or the breakout points. And there's some people that aren't, and they admit it. They like, for some reason, I can't just get the breakout points. So they have to resort to the other option, okay? So how do you get good at finding the pullbacks? You need to be focusing on support and resistance, okay? In order to be good at pullback strategies, Your support and resistance needs to be pristine, because your support and resistance zones can be the difference between you taking a loss and having an 80 pip day. Okay, so support and resistance zones. You need to spend 30 to 45 minutes mapping out support and resistance. Normally on pairs, it may not take that long. It could usually take somebody 10-15 minutes to map out support and resistance. But if you say, you know what, today I'm just gonna dive in on gold, I'm not gonna trade any other pair, this is gonna be my focus for the day, I'm gonna only use these couple of strategies, then this is how you should go about it, okay? So everybody knows support and resistance. Now, of course, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes on this call to do support and resistance, but that is what you want to do. I'm a little better at support and resistance. You want to just ensure that you have your zones mapped out in the best way possible, okay? So that when market returns to these zones, you can take advantage in the best way possible. So drop and drag and find those multiple points of rejection, okay? And there's gonna be a lot of them. When you map them out, you're gonna see more than one that are almost right next to each other, it seems like. But you also have to realize, even though they might almost seem right next to each other, there's still like 30 pips between them. Because it's gold. It's not like GBP USD. It's not GBP JPY or USD. So when you see these zones, and these zones, it's like, dang, it seems like they close. Well, they may be close, but that's still, in retrospect, 30 pips apart, 40 pips apart. So always keep that in mind when you are dealing with gold and placing your support and resistance. And then just continue to find the best entry points, the best spots, the best places that you know support and resistance. Now, how can we all know the ramifications of support and resistance. You should be able to see multiple rejections, multiple points of rejections from these areas. So if I'm looking at this area, there's a rejection here, there's a rejection here, there's a rejection here, there's a rejection here, a rejection here, and a rejection here. Market goes up, goes the other way, goes up, goes the other way. I can come down to these lines over here. You can see market coming, bouncing down, bouncing, rejection, rejection. Rejections here, went up to the next one, rejected again, boom. So you can see all these areas. I can go to multiple spaces and market is turning around in these areas, okay? Rejection, rejection, reversal right in there, rejection right over here. So no matter where I go back to, market starts to turn around at these points. So how do we use this to our advantage? Because again, if you say you're not good at catching the move, then you need to be good at catching the pullback, okay? So, for example, let's just take this zone right in here, right? Let's take this zone right in here. So let's say you missed all of this break right here, right? You was like, dang, I didn't catch none of that sell. But if you had your support and resistance line set up, then you would have known that market was, let's say you opened your phone, you missed all of this, market was right here. Then you would have known that when market goes right here, because of past history, like we could go back in the past and see rejection action at this area right here. Another one right here is rejection all through there. I could go back in past history, so I know that is a good rejection area. So if I would have been prepared, let's say I missed this burst, this is the pullback, If I would have missed this burst, I would have said, boom, I missed this and I played the opposite, so I got in for the buy. You have to play the opposites. If you are not good at the bursts, play the opposite. So after the burst happens, you look for the next support and resistance zone to get in going the opposite direction. If you would have got in, if you would have played the opposite after this burst, when market got to this support and resistance zone, you would have made roughly 19 to 29, 100, 70 to 100 pips on this green candle right here off a pullback. If you would have just got in for a buy, as soon as it hit this zone, boom, I'm in for a buy. Market execution. But when you get good and moving fast, do a pendant. I would recommend a pendant order. It's just a slight pendant order, maybe 5 pips or 10 pips above. You know what I'm saying? And then just catch it on the way up, just to be that ultra extra insure. But the goal is to catch it coming off the support and resistance zone. So if you knew this was another support and resistance zone because it broke it, this is what it broke from the other areas. When it broke it, it came down, boom, you caught the buy up all the way back up to the retest, and then boom, it came back down again. So you would have closed, took profit on that original buy, and then played the opposite again. When it hit this zone, you knew it was going to at least pull back at the least this candle wick right here. So it could have pulled back and kept going, but you would have caught that first pullback because it's about the pump, the first pump. When you catch the very first one, when it hits the zone, that's the one you're trying to catch. Sometimes the second one and the third one can be deadly, but if you can catch the candle when it hits the zone the very first time, that's usually like the pristine one to use for the pullback. You usually 9 times out of 10 gonna get that pullback. All right. So you would have rolled it all the way back up, hit this zone, boom, I'm in for a sell. Because I knew it was gonna pull back. I'll take that quick 30 to 40, and if it keeps going, then it keeps going. All right, because technically right now, 19, there's like 130 pips in between this zone right here. This little zone right here is busting 130 pips. So if you was to catch from zone to zone in one day, that's 260 pips. And you could have very well did that. It's just 2 trades. All right. So zones, every one of these zones on gold, on these, you can see that they have very strong wick game, very long wicks, right? And what that tells you is pullback game is heavy. Pullback game is heavy in all of these areas, okay? And all you got to do, so if we looking at market price now, we know market is closed, we know that. But market is closed, and you are looking at this right here. So if market was to come back all the way back up here, right here, then about when it hits this support and resistance zone, this support and resistance area, I'm going to look to get in for a quick sell if it happens to come back up there to this area right here. I'm going to be looking for a quick sell because why? I know that is a pullback area, okay? I know that is an area that every time market comes there, it at the least does a pullback. All right. So keep that in mind. Again, same thing here. If market for some reason I wake up and my phone is just busting and there's a big green candle that I missed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just wait till it gets up to this trend line support and resistance area and then get in on the pullback. Now that pullback may only be 10, 20 pips, but I'm not going to be trying to hold it. It's about whatever it gives me at the point until I see it, because a lot of times it'll just push. You see this green candle? It was a push. It didn't do a lot of shaking and faking. It just turned around, boom, gave you that action, okay? So you could take that quick money. Because then you're going to be looking at the overall too. If you're looking at the overall trend, you recognize it's still going down. So you know for sure if you holding a pullback going in the sell direction or you get in for a buy, you're going to be taking that money quick because it's overall going in a sell on the trend. All right. We still got more down to go on the trend. By the end of the week of next week, I'm expecting gold to be down to 1465. So we just got to see how it gets there, all right? So that is gold pullbacks. Again, you are setting your support and resistance for 30 to 45 minutes. Really dissect it. Go to the hour chart, go to the 30 just to see some things, go to the 15-minute chart to see some things. That's as low as you really need to go on this. Go to the 15-minute chart, see some things, and you should be good to go, okay? You should be A-OK. So that is the pullback strategy. So now, let's talk about trapping at the trend line, okay? Trapping at the trend line. So this is the strategy for more advanced people. This is the strategy that nets majority of my pips. When you trap at the trend line, it's not something that happens every day, but when it happens, it is absolutely positively most time, 95% of the time, your best point of entry in Forex, period. If you can trap at a trend line, and majority of the time, it's not even breaking the trend. Like it'll bounce 6 or 7 times inside of a trend before it actually breaks out of that trend. So if you really look at it, 97 or 98% of the time, trapping at the trend line is a trade that'll probably go your way because it's a decision point that they cannot wait. Like it has to move at that time. Like the thing I always explain, the different people ask, what's the difference between trend lines and support and resistance? And I say support and resistance happens more. You have more support and resistance zones than you have trend lines, but trend lines are more powerful. So I could be looking at a trend for example. I could be looking at a trend and I know that I have support and resistance zones in these areas, right? But that doesn't deter me from understanding that I know that this is on a continual trend downwards. So even if it gets to these areas and starts backing up some, I know eventually it's going to turn back around and continue its way down until it gets to the other trend line. And then I know from there, now if it doesn't break it, it's got to go up. So now, of course, yeah, it's going to be a few pullbacks or whatever, but I know at the end result, it's going to be back up at the other trend line, okay? So, how are you finding the trend lines? You find 2 to 3 wick reversal points in the direction of the trend that you were seeing, okay? You find the best connect points that show you that parallel funnel. They show you the parallel funnel so you can be able to clearly see the wave inside of that funnel, okay? So let's look at the chart. Boom. Up, down, up, down, up, down. You see that? If I back out, up, down, up, down. See, this is finishing this trend here. So even though I know that it has these support and resistance areas, I still know that it's going down, and I need to be looking for a place for the downside till it gets down to the end of the trend line. Why? Because it's already left here. Again, up, down, up, down, up, down. You see that? Until it decides to go break the trend and create the new one, the market is just going to bounce up and down between these trend lines. So when you get your trend lines, you also already know where market is going. You also already know where market is going, okay? So I don't want to confuse you guys. Let me get all this extra stuff off of there. All right, so again, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down. You see, guys, this is all market does. Up, down, down, up. That's all market does. Bouncing between trend lines. So what are these circles that I have here? What are these circles? These circles are your decision points. These circles are where you trap at the trend line, because these circles are where the market has absolutely no option but two options, and either one of those options will play in your favor to make money as long as you do it correctly. Okay? Each one of those options will play in your favor as long as you do it correctly. Okay? So listen, you got the market, right? And it's moving. Let's say you're right here. You open your phone and market is right here, correct? So all you have to do now, trapping at the trend line, you already have your trend line set. How did you find your trend lines? You connected 2 to 3. You see these? So let's say I wanted to, let's just put the trend lines. Let me just add them on here right quick so you can see. All right. So if I was looking for the trend, and let's say this part wasn't here yet, all this isn't here yet, we only got these. I'm taking my trend line, boom, I'm connecting these 2 dots right here. Basically, I'm connecting the line right there. So these 2 points connect. All right, so you see those 2 points connect. 2 is good, 3 is better. Then we take this, boom, connecting them to give me that parallel. Boom. All right, so now we got the up, down, down. So you open your phone or your chart and market is right here, right? What you do, you just wait. You be patient. You wait and you be patient till market makes its way to the trend line. Because now this is the equivalent of waiting for the line to get to 930 or 130, whatever it is. The market is now at the trend line and it has to make an instant decision. So you waited, market got there, boom, trap time. You put a buy stop on the outside of the trend, in this case, and then you place a sell stop inside of the trend. So market is trapped right here. You put the buy stop 10 to 15 pips above with gold 20. You put the sell stop, same, inside. So now one of your pending orders is outside of the trend and the other pending order is inside the trend. The goal, if you look at every one of these points that I highlighted, are the points when they hit the trend line. They had no other choice at that area but to break through or reverse. And it did it instantly, either within the same candle or the next candle. So you should be able to recognize that if you can trap the market at this point, the market has a better chance of going your way. If you're doing the one where the market breaks the trend, then you just need to have a TP of 10 to 15 pips, get in, get out, because you don't know what's going to happen next. The market just now broke the trend, so it now has to form a new trend, okay? It now has to form something new, so you want to get quickly in and out at that point. But if you're talking about a rejection, what's one thing that we can 100% confirm? That when market leaves the trend line, it 100% goes to the other trend line. So I know if my market closes and it doesn't break the trend, then I can hold this trade for 2, 3, 4 days, however many long trade. I can hold this trade for as long as I need to. So let's say I trap the market up here. Let's go up here, right? So we just did this trap over here on this side. Let's do this point up here. So if I would have caught that and trapped this in here, 1 second. So let's say market got up to this trend point right here, and I happen to trap it 20 above, 20 below. Market made its decision and would have came down, and I could have held that. Because I know it didn't break through, I could have held that for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Because even through this pullback, I would have held it. Why? Because it did not come all the way down and touch this trend line. So all that space means that the cycle is not complete. It has to come all the way down and touch the trend line 100%. Since it left, I would have held this 1, 2, 3, 4 days, even through this pullback right here. This pullback wouldn't have scared me. It would have just let me know it's market correction. And if I wait another day, it'll be back dropping down more, which it did. This is a 700 pip in 4 days move, 790 pips, about 600, 790 pips in 4 days. That is a lot. That is a lot. And you know, if your lot sizes are correct, that is a lot. Especially if you're on a 1.0, we already know how much money that is. That's 10 times 790. You can do the math. $7,900 in a week. All right. So gold, that's why these strategies are so powerful. So again, let's talk about this right here. Let's say market, we opened our phone and market, boom, 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 is pushing, pushing, pushing. We waited, boom, it's right here. We now move to the trap point. So we put the buy stop 10 to 15 above, 20 if it's gold. Boom, we set that there. Boom, set the sell stop. Now we got it trapped. The market can either go this way, break the trend, or this way and reverse the trend. What you notice is majority of the time it reverses. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It bounced up and down 5 times inside the trend before it actually broke it. That's what happens most of the time. It's gonna bounce 1, 2, 3, 4, probably another 5, maybe one more before it actually breaks this trend. So keep that in mind, that majority of the time you're gonna get the reversal that you want and never be in red if you trap it right at the trend line. Again, this trap came down, hit my sell stop, and I never saw red again. Never saw red again. Saw a little pullback. Now she gonna keep dropping and keep on going down, down, down. Okay? She gonna keep dropping and keep going down, down, down. I'm expecting gold to be at 1465 by the end of this week. All right, so trapping at the trend line. Again, I can look at all these areas, any one of them that I have mapped out, and show you that if market does not break through, boom, it reverses. So all you have to do is trap the market. Place the buy stop on gold, 20 above. Buy stop, sell stop on gold, 20 below. One on the inside of the trend, one on the outside of the trend. So whatever it chooses goes in your favor. If it's outside, you set that 10 pip take profit. If it's inside, you hold it till it gets to the next trend line. So from 1505 down to 1485, that's 200 pips you would have caught. Boom. Same thing, 200. Boom. Here's like 240. Boom. You would have caught all of that. All right, it's all about trapping at the point of decision where market has no other choice but to either go straight through or reverse. And you're gonna be there either way to collect your money. All right, so again, trading psychology, we did the pullbacks, which is based on support and resistance. Support and resistance is key. You spend 30 to 45 minutes looking for your support and resistance, right? And then we talked about trapping at the trend line. All right, that's my strategy that nets me the most pips because it is a point of decision on the market. Then the market only has 2 choices and it has to go. All right, it ain't gonna be no floating on the trend lines, okay? So I can get there pretty much never. If I get at this trap, I never go red. If I get this trap, I never go red. You see what I'm saying? I get this trap right here, I never go red. If I get this trap, I go red a little bit on the pullback, but then I go blue. So trapping at the trend line really is your best option and your most pristine entry point of not going red. Is catching it when it's forced. There's no other time in Forex when market is forced to make a decision. This is the only time in Forex where Forex is supposed to make the strongest decision. Besides news, this is where all your pips will come from. Again, if you caught this, if you caught this whole trend right here from trapping it at this point, you caught 790 pips in 4 days. Really 3 1/4. 3 full days and like a couple hours of this one and a couple hours of this one. So in like 3 1/4, you caught 790 pips with gold. That is unrealistic. Unrealistic. So, and then after you did that, you would have trapped it again and caught it right back up for another 400 pips. Unrealistic money gold can really provide, okay? So right there is 2 strong strategies for sure that you can use: the trapping at the trend line and the pullback. Make sure you taking that 30 to 45 to get the support resistance, and also take 30 to 45 to set up your trend lines. Because this is the thing, trend lines ain't gonna happen as much. So you're more than likely gonna use the pullback more than you use the trapping at the trend line. But you can use the pullback and trapping at the trend line at the same time. Because if you would have trapped at the trend line, this would have been a 4-day hold. You would have just said, okay, I'm holding all the way till it gets back down here, whether it's 3, 4, 5 days, 6 days. But within that, while you're holding that trade, you can be doing other trades off the pullbacks within that. So if you want a big sell for the trend line, trapping at the trend line, you could still be doing buy pullback trades at the little support and resistance zones that are mixed in between the areas all there, except you're not holding them that long. Why? Because you know market's eventually coming back down. You feel me? You know market's eventually coming back down, and this is how you're going to be able to get the money right. Okay? Excuse me. So, now, again, up, down, up, down, up, down, trap at the trend line, and then also support and resistance, plot your support and resistance, and you'll be good to go. All right, so now the last one that I want to talk about, all right, after those 2 strategies, the last one I want to talk about is my easy money scalping strategy. Now, the reason you can apply this to gold is because let's say you're close to your daily goal, but you're not really looking for no big risk, but you want something that's efficient to get you those last couple pips. You say your daily goal is 25, you're at 21. All right, and you just want to make sure that you can get these 4 pips without putting in a bad entry. Because that can happen. There'll be some people that's just trying to reach their daily goal. They closed out a trade 17 pips because it didn't seem like it was going to go the whole 20. And so now they're just looking for 3 pips. And sometimes people will go in, look for them 3 pips, and it'd be a bad trade and lose all the money they just made. So even in still, because you're only looking for 3 pips, you cannot take a lackadaisical approach to it, because that searching for that 3 pips can become a loss. And now you're back to square one or worse off than where you started, okay? So make sure that you are cognizant of your daily goals and what you're trying to accomplish, and cognizant of always coming in with a strategy, okay? Don't not have a strategy. So my easy money scalping strategy is a strategy I use when I want to catch some quick pips, right? All right. How it starts, one moment. How it starts, you need to go to your chart and add the 8 and 21 EMA. So I'm going to erase this. Or change it.
delete these. No. And alright. Right. That's how it needs to be. And this yellow needs to be the 13. Now, I'm not gonna take it off just now because you need it. But normally the first step is you start finding the 8 and 21. The 8 and 21. And then you add a 13. Wait. So the green is the 8, the yellow is the 13, and the purple is the 21. Now to start off the strategy, you go to the H1 and you just need the 8 and the 21. Okay, so add the 8 and the 21. Let that green, purple, whatever be the 21, right? So now you have the 8 and the 21. What you are looking for is when the 8 and the 21 start to fan out. So you see here when the green and the purple are fanned out, that is confirming that you are in a strong drop of trend. On gold, you are confirming you are in a strong drop of trend when the 8 and the 21 fan out, okay? Same thing over here on the buy. You can see the purple and the green, they are fanned out. The 8 and the purple and the green line are fanned out on that uptrend. That is a strong confirmation of trend, okay? So once you get the strong confirmation of trend, so you've looked, you say, okay, the green and the purple are fanned out. Now I want to go down to the 5-minute chart. Go down to the 5-minute chart. And what I now want to do is look at that same trend, but add the 13 EMA, which is the yellow line. It's already showing here, but it wouldn't have been there at the beginning if you just added the 8 and the 21 in the first step. You have the 8 and the 21 that you add in the first step. The 8 and the 21 that you add in the first step. But you add the 13 in the third step when you go down to the 5-minute chart. So now we're on the 5-minute chart. We've now added the 13. So now we got the 8, 13, and the 21, okay? What we're looking for is a break of the 8, but it closes below the 13. A break of the 8 and it closes below the 13. You see that? It broke the green, it broke the 8, but it closed below the 13. If it closes above the 13 like this, like it breaks the 8, closes above the 13, that's not valid. We don't want to trust that, especially with gold, because each one of these candles is 30, 40 pips. So what you want to do is, again, you want to wait. This will be a perfect example of a good time to get in after this candle closed. Boom. After this candle closed, whoa, boom. It closed below this 13, below, broke the 8, then I got in for the sell to get my quick pips, then I got up out of there. All right, this is an easy scalp strategy. Let's try to look at it on the buy, okay? Let's try to look at it on the buy. So let's say we try to look right there, right? Let's see if we can get there. All right. So let's try to look at this uptrend right here. See if we can find it on the 5. Ooh. All right, so this looks like it right here, right? We on the 5-minute. Oh, wow. Let's see, what's a good Can I zoom out and see that? Oh, that big uptrend kind of made it hard. But here, we can just zoom in. Pretty much anywhere, really. So, let's take a look. Okay. Let's take a look. All right. So, here's a quick scalp. So, it went up, pulled back, boom, broke the 8. You see right here, it breaks the 8, closes below the 13, breaks the 8, that candle right there broke the 8, closes below the 13, and then you can catch all that up. Closes above the 13, I'm sorry. Since you're on a buy, it's closed above the 13. If you're on a sell, it's closed below. If you're on a buy, it's closed above. So again, it went up, the pullback happened, it broke the 8, closed below the 13, then made its way back up. You could have got in for the buy right there for the quick scalp. Easy money scalping. 8, 13, 21. Use the 8 and 21 on the hour to find the direction of trend and ensure that you're in a strong trend. And then once you get that, all you have to do is catch the good scalp with the right confirmation. Okay? The good scalp with the right confirmation. So this one, it broke down, pulled back, broke the 8, closed below the 13, and boom, you got that drop. Got your quick pips and got up out of there. Okay? Okay? So you see this, it broke, came, broke the 8, hit the 13, but it closed above it. You was good for the money all the way up. You was good for the money all the way up. Okay? Easy money scalping strategy. No matter where you go, you use this, you'll be good. Break the 8, close below or above the 13, you can get some money off the easy scalp, okay? So that's what you're looking for on that today. Real simple strategies, don't take long. 8, 13, 21. Now use this for this scalping strategy. Don't try to take it to the other strategies. Use it for scalping. So again, you start on the hour with the 8 and the 21. You find the great fall when they start fanning out, or the great rise when they start fanning out. Then you go to the M5 and add the 13 EMA. Now you got the 8, 13, 21, and you are looking for where market breaks the 8 but closes below or above the 13 to get in for that play. All right, here it would have been a sell, okay? So those 3 strategies you can really use on gold to complete your cycle and be done for the day. Use a couple of those. You got your pullback money strategy, your trapping at the trend line strategy, your easy money scalping strategy. 3 strategies that you can use on gold to get a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money. Gold can really make you rich. Again, remember, trading psychology. Put together a plan, put together an idea, put together something that works for you and stick to it. There's no reason to keep doing a bunch of extra stuff and taking losses. Minimize your opportunity for loss, maximize your opportunity for success. All right, this has been another webinar with Trill, 365 Trading Group. I will holler at y'all, man. Peace.